All right, we're back. So, a little bit of technical difficulty and delay, but we're going to go ahead and get back into, like I said, our second best of three. It's LoLPro taking on Cursed Academy. And in this matchup, normally I would have predicted Cursed to go ahead and take this, but it's a lot more even, especially considering that over the course of the regular season, LoLPro have been kind of up, kind of down, but come into this playoffs actually really strong.
And Cursed Academy, they've had their waves, they've had their ups, their downs. There was that brief moment throughout the season where they had just the Brand comp, like no AD carry. Let's go ahead, run Brand in the bot lane. We'll kill everybody, and Fabi got so many ridiculously good kiting kills. And I do wonder what style of play they'll bring in today. With 3.15, the top 80 carries, Lucian, Sivir, they got changed up a bit. So there is that possibility that they'll open up and go towards that older style of play they had with maybe not necessarily a Brand. They could bust out Cassiopeia or a Nidalee. But that non-AD carry comp would be fun to see again.
Mm-hmm. Now we're actually taking a little bit of a break, and there we go. We can actually see the pick and ban phase, which I feel like would be important for us to
we actually couldn't see picks for a sec, so there's the AD carry.
If you guys were wondering why on earth we weren't talking through picks and bans, well, we actually have to see them in order to mention them. But they're back. They're up there on the screen. You can see Evelyn actually banned out against One Bad Brad. Evelyn is One Bad Brad's jam. Like, he is the champion. He defaults to, especially strong now in Season 4, as vision control is a little bit more difficult to establish versus her. Cassin and Annie, no surprises there. The thing that actually does surprise me is the Ziggs ban versus Jackie, who I would expect to play more of like a Gragas Orianna. Those are kind of his champions right now. Morgana, really strong, but at the same time has a bug where if you kill someone with her ultimate, it kind of drops off the face of the earth. So probably won't see her here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big bug. Definitely neuters her in a lot of situations. And Ziggs, we saw him a lot in the Battle of the Atlantic today, or at least the LCS EU qualifiers, and he was tremendous throughout the entire session. So we've seen Jackie play him a couple of times, and it was relatively successful. So based off his history, based off Ziggs as a character in general, it's not too surprising to see it banned out just out of straight-up fear. However, they're hovering over the Brand, and I mean, I think Brand is legit. I think Cursed Academy is a team to bring him out, and there we go. He's once again showing up on the Cursed Academy side.
Now we're going to see the same thing that we did from the bottom lane in game number 2 of VVV versus DTG. It's going to be Jinx versus Ezreal. And while we probably won't see the blue build Ezreal that Don't Mash Me did, it's nice to see that 3.15 patch changing up the bottom lane. You're not seeing Lucian anymore, and with a Sivir banned, these are apparently the go-to picks. It's going to be the Ezreal versus Jinx matchup, and this probably won't be the last time we see those two go up against each other. The Wukong, actually legit for NY Jackie. He likes actually playing that in the middle lane. If they lock it in, it's also a possible jungler, kind of channeling their inner Saint Vicious, player that, of course, both teams interact with on a daily basis.
Oh, the last second Mundo. Will it stay a Mundo, though? It could go back to Wukong. LOD is a big troll. He's always been a trollish guy. So until that gets locked in, we're not going to be sure. I actually really do like Wukong. We've seen some play from Wukong. He has shown up, and he's shown that, guess what, that can do a lot of damage. His armor shred is amazing for any sort of AD-focused comp, which with a Jarvan is going to be incredibly powerful. But the Mundo still being hovered over. Got to be a bit more standard. It's kind of odd now that in 3.14 and 3.15, Mundo is like that go-to purple monster. You can put him almost everywhere, but most likely going to be a top lane Mundo, someone who doesn't really lose to anybody, can survive and regenerate versus someone like, let's say, an Olaf top lane.
Exactly, and that's probably what we're going to see from Rux. He has locked that one in, and with an Elise, we're going to see that in the jungle there for One Bad Brad. So Olaf, he's a pretty much S-class jungler right now. You see him in the jungle a ton over in Korea, but North America, one of the great top lane counters to bruisers who just like to stand there and fight you. The longer you fight Olaf, the more true damage you take, and hey, those are always trades in Olaf's favor. So it's in Rux's hands. We'll see if he goes damage or builds a little bit more tanky up there versus the Purple Menace, as you like to call him. And with the Brand in the mid lane, Brand really suffers from a lack of mobility, and it's something that Gragas can really exploit with the explosive cast, but we'll have to see how that, as well as the bottom matchup, goes as well. It's going to be a Sona down there, and against a lot of burst damage from Leona, and that has a tendency to kind of explode. There's heal there, so Summer we don't see all that often. Let's see if that keeps Sona alive a little bit longer.
Keep Sona alive, keep Ezreal alive. They got to do what they can just to survive that onslaught. I actually really love all these lanes because there's that one guy that can kite, that can take control in most of the lanes, and the other guy that will just blow him up.
Right. Like
you said, Gragas can blow up Brand, and there's always the opportunity for instant death or total lane control. But I believe we're going to go ahead, take a quick break. Got to give some shout-outs to our sponsors. First of all, a shout-out to Loot Crate. If you've never heard of Loot Crate, we love bringing them up. They were one of the first guys to sponsor NACL, so much love to them. But you can go ahead and check out the link below for $13.37 a month. You can check out Loot Crate. You get a crate full of swaggish loot. Lots of cool stuff, lots of unique kind of nerd peripherals, and it's a cool thing to get. Also, a shout out to our sponsor, FiLol. Fi produces fantastic LoL content aimed at pumping you up as a player, pumping up your elo, and showing you the lighter side of more competitive LoL. So you should go ahead, check out his channel at the FiLol, and he's got a lot of cool vids ready for you.
As well as LolChat. They're a League of Legends chat client built into your phone. Well, they don't build it into your phone. It's an app that you have to check out by clicking the link right down below the stream, and you can head over there and check them out. Thank them, support them, and us vicariously keep esports alive and well. There's also Phoenix Collection. You can head over to the Phoenix right down below the screen and see any of the impeccably crafted gaming peripherals over on their website. Whether you're looking for a mouse pad, keyboard, headset, or I think they have a mouse as well, you can find all that at phoenixcollection.com by clicking the link right down below. But that's going to do it for our sponsor shoutouts. We're going to head into the last remaining moments of spectator delay before getting into our second best of three here at the NACL Season 1 playoffs. We'll have Curse taking on Curse Academy right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Season 1 North American Challenger League playoffs. I am Rapid. I'm here with Studio, and we are out onto the Rift for our second best of three of the game. It's a game one here as LoLPro in place of Team Curse take on Curse Academy.
Now I'm going to make my prediction now, Rapid, because DTG is not in this game. We will not see a horrible level what happened with a bunch of people going down, just based off some of the past few games. Still, it's looking like with the strength of Olaf and his axes, the high damage coming out from Jinx's auto attack spam, and Brand having a lot of early AoE damage for a level 1 team fight. There's a lot of possibilities for Curse Academy to go for the invade, but both teams being very defensive, going for the spread. No one really wants to take that big chance.
Yeah, very defensive start for both teams. And LoLPro, a team that we haven't actually seen in NACL very often, so they bear some introduction, especially LOH, a new support for them. It was Apexi for most of the season, but then switching it up to Lopali, a support that you've probably seen on a few other teams as well. I can't talk over Brand, man.
It's so good. I love that. I love that just complete skin. Everything about it is amazing. Of course, the running animation towards an enemy is possibly the coolest thing in League of Legends. But going towards the lanes, it looks like we're going to have a standard 2v2 coming out for both sides. Now this is cool. LoPali and LOD in the bot lane running Ezreal and Sona have a lot more poke potential than Fabi and Huron. And Huron combined with that Jinx damage, a Leona Jinx combo, it's a lot of damage, a lot of burst. They actually have the possibility to pick up kills in the bot lane, even though they're losing the poke war. So it's going to be all about bursting down LoPali, and that heal is going to come in with a huge, huge benefit if they do get engaged on.
Jackie versus Jaximus. A lot of Jacks there in the mid lane. And while neither of them will be playing that champion, they're both going to be definitely a lane to watch, because you just see the burst damage that Jaximus does even just at level 1. That's just going to be amplified when he can start the target, getting a blaze there, really amplify that. Huron, who is actually Glebe Glarbu, down there in the bottom lane, changes his name, and whether or not that is related to his favorite brand of K-pop, it's also going to be a nice addition. Both teams changing their supports just before the playoffs, so we'll have to see if that is an effect that will affect some of these bottom lane trades. Another lane that we're going to have to keep an eye on is at top. It's Haunser, he's mainly a Shyvana player. He's really good at those tanky bruisers, which just in time for Season 4 turns out to be a pretty good thing, as he will be playing Dr. Mundo versus Rux's Olaf.
And actually, Mundo was for a long time considered either a better or worse Shyvana, just in terms of the meta, just in terms of how they played out. So it's cool to see that he can adapt from that Shyvana-like character, or from Shyvana to a Shyvana-like character. Now, what I want to see is whether or not Fabi and Huron can stay pushed in. They pushed in early in the bot lane. This let them just go ahead, stay far forward, and avoid the poke. And now that they're pushed back out, LoPali and LOD are just going for constant poke. LoPali very far forward because he knows he can survive with his level advantage and with that heal. Heaven Time goes down incredibly low in the jungle. It's going to go ahead, back on out, and heal up, but looks like we got a 3v2 bot lane.
Going in, there's going to be some damage out there, but it's really LOD who's in the danger zone. Will Arcane Shift over the Flame Chompers, makes its way back out to safety.
And those Flame Chompers were beautiful, completely blocking out the path of LoPali and LOD. And LoPali, he blew that flash. Sona is a very easy to catch target. Now that all-in bot lane can be a lot more successful, because guess what? One Bad Brad rounding his way back down there.
Yeah, he's going for the NASCAR gank, making another turn around there, coming in behind LOD. There's LOH actually going to eat the stun there, flash in. There's the CC amplified damage. Hyorin will help Fabi take down first blood for Curse Academy.
Obliteration. LoLPro had nothing he could do to survive that. Once he got rounded about, once Elise made it through the jungle, there was just no option. Sona just has no real escape until she at least gets your ultimate, and even then that's a long cooldown. Now, something I would like to see Curse Academy do, they killed Sona once, she still doesn't have flash, kill Sona again. Just keep going bot lane, keep punishing, because there's nothing LoLPro can do to keep himself alive. Top lane, you can see Rux going for the constant pressure. Hanser early on, Mundo's not considered the strongest champion, even though his cleaver does good damage. The high health cost and the fact that he's just gonna burn himself down means he's a little bit more susceptible to harass. So you can kind of see Rux pressuring early, trying to take minion control and really abuse the early game of Mundo.
Yeah, in Mundo's early game, it's something that he actually, I mean, he's very strong in that there's a ton of regeneration, and unless you can all in him, it just gets a little bit rough to deal with. The downside is that if you can all in him, he sacrifices health on every single one of his moves. His ultimate takes away a percentage of his own HP, and so makes it easier for you to burst him down. But once he can get past those first few levels, once he gets his ultimate and some tankiness behind it, he's just an unstoppable monster up there in the top lane. And I guess that's going to be good if Rux can just farm the lane out against him, but there's not a whole lot of kill potential towards the late mid-game there on to a Dr. Mundo, and we'll have to see what Rux can do with that. Rux, keep in mind, along with the guys like Voidboy, were early adopters of Olaf way back in the day when he was just unstoppable top lane. He's kind of coming back, defensive tree really helping him out there. We'll have to see if Rux can make a return to Olaf's dominance.
And I mean, Olaf dominance, it's busting its way to North America. It's been in Korea for a little bit. You've seen him on permaban for about a month or so, maybe 2 months. And as people are getting better at Olaf, because he can be a difficult champion to play, his skill shot, the axes are just very different compared to most other skill shots in the game. It's going to take some adaptation, but I really think Rux is one of those players that if you do not ban his Olaf, you're placing yourself in so much risk. But looking at the map, with Curse Academy taking early control of the game, I want to see what LoLPro does to respond to this. What is going to be their solution to make sure that LoLPro doesn't keep dying bot lane? How are they going to make sure LOD gets farm? And Jackie really focus on roaming or focus on trying to kill Jaximus in the mid lane?
Now, Jackie is a player that we've seen for years on Team Curse and brings a lot of his strength and experience to this LoLPro lineup. And on champions like Morgana, big AoE control mages, he's always been, the first into the fight and the last out of it, or, well, sometimes the first out of it, depending on how that engage goes. But as Gragas, it's really going to be on him, not only to get a lot of early roaming, but also to put some pressure on Jaximus, because Brand is a champion that if you let get to late game, he's just way too much damage to allow that. Has some great team fighting potential, and so you really can't just let him get there. But let's just be honest. After the first series that we saw, this game is going to get to late game, and that's a real source of strength for Curse Academy with that mid laner. So it's going to be up to Jackie to not only limit his potential in the mid lane, but also maybe get some roam off. Probably on the bottom lane is ganking a Mundo. It's cool and everything, but you're never really just going to completely shut that guy down.
I mean, every time you play against a Brand, there will be that moment where he's bought Heliandries, he's bought a Rylai's, you get hit by one of his AoEs, a kind of conflagration, just kind of picks you off for a bit, and it's like, alright, I took a bunch of damage. That kind of sucks. Then the burn happens, that long, 6 or so seconds of Heliandries ticking, his passive ticking and burning away, and it is devastating once you reach that mid to late game. Now, Jackie, he can kill Brand pretty effectively, especially once he hits level 6. You toss out the barrel, you run him down with the body slam, the fat man goes in, the burning man goes out. However, Jaximus can also trade back. He's a very high damage champion. And I really do wonder if Jackie will A, ever get enough poke to burst him down right away, or B, even if he does get that damage, will it just be a trade?
Well, another thing to notice is that thanks to Zangul's !runes command, we can see that it's health regeneration, quintessences, and I believe he actually had blues in there as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of health regen on Mundo already, and then adding even more of that means that as much harass as Rux would like to put in there, it's just not going to be very effective. So early game, it's kind of shored up by having all that regen, but once again, if you do go for dives, they're going to work out pretty well. But it's not all about that top lane. We actually didn't talk about the junglers hardly at all. One bad Brad on Elise. It's a jungler that's pretty much picked or banned every single game. At least we saw that in the first series. It's going to be going up against a Jarvan, which is kind of the last guard of Season 3, one of the strongest junglers there. Don't really see him picked all that much here in Season 4, much to guys like Nintendo X's chagrin.
Well, he's got well, Nintendo X can play Olaf now, so he's got that.
Oh
going
yeah, that's
for
right.
him.
See, there's
But
always something in there.
at Heaven Time, he ran into the key problem on Jarvan. He went low in the jungle, and it's very hard as Jarvan. He does have very good jungle clear, but he takes a lot of damage. Doesn't have any real sustain. The shield is nice, but it's long cooldown and doesn't mitigate a whole lot because the shield scaling is based off being around enemy champions. So Heaven Time went low in the jungle. He couldn't gank early on, and as a result, that gave a chance for One Bad Brad to roam bot, pick up a kill, and now Heaven Time, if he does get a successful gank off, he's really coming in to equalize rather than to gain control for the team. However, it's Jarvan ganks. Jarvan ganks are insane, so if he can take some control, if he can pick off one member, it's not hard for Jarvan to immediately gank right away and pick up someone else.
I feel like if he were jungling Rumble, making equalizing these team fights would be a little bit easier, but as that is unfortunately not the case, we'll have to see if he can do it with Jarvan. Looks like we will be getting back into the game here, so in 3, 2, 1, we are back out onto the Rift and underway with our first game in this best of 3.
As Jacksmith takes a barrel to the face, Brand can do that though. He's on fire, it's a-okay. The liquor just makes him burn harder.
That's true. It's not that it puts him out, but that it actually amplifies it. It's a nice synergy. I'm beginning to see the reasoning behind Jackson's brand pick.
And you can see Yorin right now just trying to stay far forward. Not enough that he's taking 3 auto attacks, but enough that he can always initiate with Zenith Blade. Fabi could follow up with a zap or just walking up and auto attacking. And if that happens, you know, Low Pally takes a lot of damage, will probably survive, but gets scared out of lane.
Fabi just missed that cannon minion, which while it may not necessarily mean the end of the lane, it's always nice to pick up that extra gold. But
yeah.
it's not going to decide anything. What's going to decide that is going to be Hyorin hitting level 6. He's right on par, just a few XP behind Low Pally, and so you can see just the effectiveness of hitting that level 4, having that advantage, and now you can see right behind that Tri-Brush, Heaven Time looking to get in here for a gank of his own, but he's going to get warded out there. And actually, no, the ward placed in the river, so hasn't quite been scouted out just yet.
If he can pick this up, this is huge. They need this kill right now. He's going around. He has been spotted. Can he pick someone up?
No, it looks like Hyorin's going to be running out there. There's a lot of flashes here. Knock up onto Hyorin. He's just going to take that damage. We'll drop the stun there onto Heaven Time. He's dropping out pretty low. There's the Flame Chompers. Slow them out just a little bit more. Fabi blocks shot, and while Hyorin did take a lot of harass there, wasn't forced to use any of his summoners because, oh wait, they were already both down.
Yeah, Hyorin, he's playing Leona. Leona can be a hard gank if she can just walk out of it. There wasn't any good sustained CC, like let's say Olaf axe spam, and as a result, he just kind of walks away from the danger, walks away from the gank, and is a-okay. This is still a relatively successful gank though. Fabi has gone back to base. This gives some time for LOD, and Low Pally just to chill bot lane, pick up some farm, and stay safe. So not the most successful, but hey, they at least accomplished something with that gank. And unfortunately, Heaven Time, I mean, I don't believe he had enough damage quite yet. Jarvan needs a bit more. There's actually initiation on a One Bad Brad.
There's explosive cast, but it knocks One Bad Brad away. There's actually going to be Ignite. Any more damage, and One Bad Brad will die. He's going to repel, but with nowhere to go, nowhere to run and hide. Jackie goes down to the flash in from Rux. You know, letting him go over the back of the wall would have been a little bit rough, so securing that kill's good, but without a flash now, Hauser's just standing there. He's like trading axes for cleavers, and while they may basically be the same thing, neither one of them are going to be very effective at doing anything but kind of that wet noodle fight of the top lane.
And fantastic repel coming out from One Bad Brad. Dodge Jarvan's damage in the nick of time. And actually, Heaven Time, because he'd used the Flag and Dragon combo already, tried to flash, tried to chase after One Bad Brad, could not lock him down though. And that scary spider was able to sliver away with about, I'd say, 100 or so HP. Hyorin in the bot lane though takes a bit of poke, could be looking for a turnaround, but his shield's already down.
And now dealing less damage thanks to the power core, but LOD's just getting up there, getting in Fabi's face, and really winning out there on that trade. And that's something that works really well with Sona. Sona, she's great if you're behind because she has some sustain in that lane. But she's great if you're ahead because that way, even if you do take some damage off of trades, it makes them just even that much more favorable. Mid lane, Jacksmith is going to go for some wave clear out there. Jackie has a little bit of a wave clear advantage, at least until Jacksmith is able to go back and actually pick up some offensive items. Doesn't have any of those just yet as he went for the Chalice mana regen build. There's going to be actually a Mundo ultimate. Hanser going to throw out Sadism and look for some kills onto Rux. There's going to take a little bit of barrel damage as well. He's going to Demacia himself on out of there with that Ragnarok. There go down the Flame Chompers. They will explode, and there's the Arcane Shift right over them. Take LOD out to safety.
In top lane, we can see the grouping up coming out from Curse Academy. Unfortunately, Rux, he's immune to the knockback. Jackie could not burst him down low enough. The Ignite's not available top lane. And as a result, Rux able to walk away from that. I gotta say, LOD and Low Pally in the bot lane, they're playing this very smart. If they can split up Fabi and Hyorin, Hyorin is dependent on Fabi to attack and proc his passive for that really high Leona burst. So as a result, if they end up in like 2 separate 1v1s in the bot lane as it happened in that fight, it's a-okay for LoLPro and LOD to just keep fighting and just go for an odd 1v1 duel against a Leona and a Jinx. Now, LOD, he's got that high Ezreal damage. If he lands a Mystic Shot, it is incredibly good poke at this point in the game. You can see Fabi has to play very cautiously. He can't take more than 1 Mystic Shot without risking just being all in by LOD and actually being bursted down.
So, for right now, Hyorin is about to hit that level 6. You can see him playing a little bit more aggressively. As soon as a few more minions die, he's going to be able to get in there with that ultimate and really, whichever support actually hits level 6, not necessarily the AD carries, is going to be in control of that bottom lane. They're going to have the initiation, the engage, and counter-engage, if you want to look at it that way, to be able to either accelerate or kind of decelerate that bottom lane. And
Sona hit 6. Jackie was in the area. It looked like he might have been going bot, but actually retreats. I thought he was going to go for that all-in level 6 dive underneath the turret. Could have picked up a double kill, but would have been risky as all hell because One Bad Brad and Jacksmith were right in that area.
Now, having time still comes down to that bottom lane, and One Bad Brad was in the area looking for that early gank. Backed off and then is now coming back just to try to avoid this 3v3, because with that level 6, while Hyorin's still level 5, there's a huge turret dive advantage here for LoLPro.
They do spot out One Bad Brad with the Jarvan Standard. If either side can initiate at this point, under the turret going to be very dangerous for LoLPro. However, they can burst down a target incredibly quickly, but both sides are realizing, yeah, we can make a big play happen. We can go for the swag. We'll probably die as a result, though. Going to play it safe and not initiate.
More cleavers cleaving, axes axing, I guess, top lane, just wave clearing it out. But the push from Haunter actually keeping Rux in lane. I'm not sure where that L came from, and I don't think that mid lane is going to be very sure where One Bad Brad is going to come from. He is hiding right around the corner, looking to come around the corner for a cocoon, but with a minion wave coming in there, Jack is going to be safe for now.
Yeah, these lanes are incredibly difficult to gank. The one easy lane for LoLPro would be mid lane, but there's always that risk of, guess what, it's a brand, he can turn around and kill you in response. Top lane is just that passive farm fest. You can actually see both Mundo and Olaf have not gone back to base yet. Ruck's not going back. That cleaver damage is really building up now that Haunter has hit level 8. So getting that level 4 cleaver is actually a big turnaround point, especially with the ult to back himself up. So now, control the lane going towards Haunter. The question is, can he maintain it after Rux goes back to buy with that Tiamat pickup just to force a lot of wave clear?
All right, now Tiamat, it's sending a message, hey, I don't need tank stats right now. I can afford to farm this game out and not face a whole lot of damage coming my way. Jacksmith, though, down to half health as Jackie can now play that lane very aggressively as he doesn't have to worry about losing out in those trades. Top lane, Mundo's actually going to go back to base. That's the only way you can get Dr. Mundo out of lane is if he wants to go back to base, because, hey, Mundo goes where he pleases.
Oh, LoLPro barely missing the Zenith Blade.
Okay, Hyorin just missed everything there, so the best way to avoid the engaged attempts of your opponents is to not get hit by any of their spells. Took the collateral damage there of the Solar Flare, but didn't actually get stunned up or CC'd at all, and was able to just push him back away. So, attempt number 1, ineffective, yeah, things casters say.
And unfortunately, with that down, Fabi and Hyorin immediately have to go back to base because they've got nothing to survive anything LoLPro and LOD could bust out right now. I mean, the crescendo would be huge. Heaven time now in the bot lane. They can really heavily push this bottom turret, and there's not a lot they can do to defend it over on the side of Curse Academy.
Push continues. One Bad Brad's there. Does have like a volatile spiderling or something to keep that wave away. There's actually a zap down onto LOD. They're taking a lot of area effect damage, but there's a knockup coming in on Wonder Bad Brad. He's actually going to repel the crescendo. So now Jackie looking for a kill onto Jacksmith there in the middle lane. Heaven time will fall. No flashes out. Still in the danger zone. Dodges away from the zap. There's Ignite going down. And Execute coming in. One Bad Brad taking down the 3rd kill of the game for Curse Academy.
Oh, unfortunately for LoLPro, that one last second crescendo did not land against One Bad Brad. He got the repel off in time. That was their big initiation. That was their big scary, hey, we're going to beat you up style of play. And in the end, guess what happens? The spider comes out. Hyorin can come in, land a Zenith Blade, and have enough CC to burst down Heaven Time, despite the fact that he is, that tanky, well, relatively tanky Jarvan. Dragon now going towards Curse Academy with that kill is going to be an easy pickup, especially lacking that jungler with potential smite steal.
All right, so a dragon for Curse Academy. No turrets going down for them just yet. They do have the first turret of the game was actually there for LoLPro. And now Hanser going to throw out Sadism with a cleaver landing onto Rux. He's going to throw it out. He's actually removing defensive stats from himself by turning on Ragnarok. But no, all right, so nothing going to land there. Hanser regenerates that out, turns it back around, and picks up a kill there. First kill of the game, actually, for LoLPro.
And Rux's damage build, what's supposed to happen is, all right, Hanser tosses out a bunch of cleavers, and then Rux can just clear the wave, be A-okay, maybe farm the jungle up, as Hanser will push in a little bit slower. However, Hanser was landing those cleavers, and Rux wasn't killing the wave fast enough, not getting enough lifesteal, so as a result, could not sustain. But in the bot lane, can he land that CC? No! A beautiful, beautiful solar flare coming out from Kyoran, hitting Heaven Time mid-flag and drag.
Yeah, he's actually sniped him off that right, just the tip of that landing onto him, and that's going to mean the successful disengage and safety of our Lord and Savior Fabi down there in the bottom lane. Keeps it alive, sends it back to base though, so even still body slam now onto Jackson. Can he land? Hey, can he dodge this out? There's explosive cast flashed away, just got on the other side of that, and that will keep Jaximus safe for now.
We can watch the beautiful music being presented by LoLPally, taking out that vision ward, not losing the power cord, as it is not used up on wards. And in mid lane, Jaximus, he can beat up Jackie if there's minions nearby to use that ultimate to bounce around them, hopefully get an extra bit of damage onto him. But in a straight up 1v1, you know, it's the fat man, and that's something that's always been the case versus most AP mids. He can just body slam towards someone, auto attack them, and toss out barrels, and there's not a whole lot an AP mid can do about it.
Blue buff once again going to go over to Jaximus. He's off-center. The blue buff's desynced for both teams, so it's going to, you know, create some oscillation in their strength curves for there. But the action probably won't be mid lane anymore, at least not until we see Explosive Cast come back for Jackie. Haven't actually seen any Pyroclasms just yet, and that's just because neither one of these teams have actually team fought. This is Season 4. We've got about 30 more minutes until the game's allowed to end, so for the time being, we're just going to see wave clear, wave pushing, and I guess that's pretty okay for almost everyone here, as not fighting is always the safest thing to do, which turns out to be what most teams decide to go for. But as far as right as I say that, Curse group up in the bottom lane, looking for a fight, but like I said, will not go for that one just yet.
Maybe. One Bad Bread has been spotted out in the bottom brush. Is now Rux top lane. He's just
Rux
getting decimated.
He's just going to get dove. But Hanser doesn't actually care about turret damage. He's regenerating it. Hanser just tanks turret, tanks Olaf. Doesn't matter. Bottom lane as well. Fabi going in, picking up a kill there onto LoLPally. And now it's going to be the bottom turret, tying things up there. Curse Academy pick up their first turret of the game. All
right, we're getting a really weird dynamic in terms of power between the both teams. Rux, he is effectively worthless versus Hanser. Hanser is just walking up to him, diving him underneath the turret, while Rux is still at half HP, and he can do nothing to stop him. Mundo Cleavers are not that hard to land. Rux can't dodge them. And as a result, he can pop his ultimate to try and get away, but he's just losing his defensive stats and dying to a very fast Mundo. And at the same time, bottom lane, you know, now Fabi is 2-0-1. Now he's got the kills. LoLPro have to control the Jinx, and Mundo might be the guy to do that.
Now bottom lane, Elodie's trying to get in there, but Jackie's actually way too far behind. He's going to try to body slam in there. Hanser's already in there, slows out Fabi. The dunks go down, and so does Fabi, as Jackie will take him out of there. Damage coming in from Brent. There's the Pyroclasm all over everyone, but it's just not enough to take out Hanser, LOD, or Heaven Time, and there's going to be the untimely demise. Jackson is falling down into his shallow grave.
Oh, that poor Brandel. There was a low HP Jackie. He could have been blown up, but the RNG was just not in his favor. The gods looking upon Fabi and saying, let's go ahead and not support his team this one time. Now, top lane, Rux getting a chance to actually get some love and time with that top turret. It does go down. Now that inner turret being taken down quite a bit. This is that Olaf split push. He needs to try and start getting something done in the top lane. He's going to take that top turret relatively low. And with that that Negatron cloak, maybe he can survive that Mundo Cleaver harass. However, mid turret does go down in favor of LoLPro. In this game, even though it's relatively even in gold, I'm pretty scared for Curse Academy. They've lost a lot of control across the map. That Mundo is so hard to stop. We've just seen Mundo dominance quite a bit in 3.14 and 3.15. And until they can get a way to kite him effectively, which isn't really going to happen until Jaximus picks up his Rylai's, it's going to be either an all-out burst to kill Mundo, or he will just pick up kills left and right.
Yeah, currently he is regenerating about, I think, almost 80 health every 5 seconds, so while I will not do math on that, that is a lot. There's actually an explosive cask in the middle lane onto Jaximus, a lot of damage down back onto Jackie. He'll actually flash away from the zap, so Fabi forcing out a summoner spell off of just the zaps come in. Nice rotation from the bottom lane, putting a lot of strength right where Curse Academy need it in the mid.
If they can stay grouped up, if they can constantly apply pressure, make sure that LoLPro doesn't get a safe initiation off, then maybe Curse Academy can just try and go for this balanced out siege, let Rux get some more farm time on, and if he can get that Spirit Visage, he can most likely handle Mundo in a one-on-one. The issue is there's always that risk. Low Pally has his Flash available. Flash Sona initiation with that crescendo. It's not the most reliable thing. It can be very, very scary to actually do. But, you know, a good initiation onto a Brand, onto Fabi, that's very easy for Jackie to follow up with that explosive cask and pick up some kills.
LOD is just going to be farming things up, and let's just be real, farming is going to be what we're seeing the most out of so far. But if you look over to LOD, he is going to go for the blue build, Ezreal. Has a Tear of the Goddess and those Ionian Boots of Lucidity. Rest in peace, the lore battles of yore. So I guess that makes them your battles. But either way, I think the blue build, something we may actually see a lot more. It's been 2 Ezreals in a row that have both gone for that. And whether he decides to go full blue build or not, he doesn't have the Blade of the Ruined King that Don't Mash Me actually picked up in our previous game. Going for the Bloodthirster, a lot more damage there, but still not committing to anything just yet. Whereas Bloodthirster for Fabi, much more standard. So he will probably look for that Static Shiv next before picking up a Last Whisper.
Haunter in the jungle taking a bit of damage from one bad Brad. Elise does a lot of damage to Mundo because of her percentage style of DPS. And I do like the decision for a blue build if he does pick up the Frozen Fist. LOD, if you can help go ahead and control Jax, is actually fighting the jungle though.
Oh, there's going to be Solar Flare. Only catches out onto Haunter in Heaven Time. There's a huge 3-man crescendo. Fabi almost avoids it, or does avoid it there. There's actually Ragnarok trying to get through all the CC, but wasn't there necessarily in time, and so one bad Brad actually does make it out alive with just about 100 hit points. So after all of those ultimates, no one dies. We're backing off, both teams back to farming.
LOD unfortunately did not have the ultimate available on Ezreal to try and go for that snipe. Actually still in the blue buff. Now snipes towards the base, seeing if he can catch one bad Brad on the recall.
The Arcane Shift in, you know, there's some moves that should only work one direction. I feel like that would help out possibly XDG as well as LOD there, as he did go for the offensive shift into 3 people. Didn't work out. That's 5-5, evening up the kill count, but the one count that is actually not even is those, or are rather, those turrets, as a little bit of an extra focus from that. First turret went to LoLPro. They're still ahead that one turret, and for Curse Academy, now after having taken out LOD, you know, I feel like I would have liked to see a push out of them, but it would have had to be in that mid lane. That's exactly where LoLPro are grouped up most defensively.
Yeah, I was actually surprised to see LOD ulting when he did. I thought it was try and catch one bad Brad, but no, that was just initiation onto Jacksonus. And the thing is, you know, even if Brand had backup, there's a good chance Brand could have picked up that kill just because of his high burst and high DPS. And regardless, gold is pretty even. Dragon should be up in about 5 minutes. LOD picked it up after that team fight went down. So you can kind of see that the game is relatively even, and there's a bit of a passive moment. There aren't really big objectives to take. Mundo can now pressure Baron, actually. Mundo's a very successful Baron sneaker. He can just take himself and maybe Heaven Time or even Jackie just try and burst that down quickly with his fever damage. But regardless, both teams don't really have an easy objective to take. The next turret to go down for Chris Academy will most likely be the mid lane. They want to try and pick that off ASAP, as it is crucial to getting map control. But the issue is with that defensive Gragas, Ezreal, and Sona, they're going to look for pickoffs. They're going to look for just kind of split push pressure and trying to catch off just that moment where LoLPro is not grouped up and they can take a turret like right now.
Push in the mid lane, waves to get cleared out. You're going to have to tank. There's actually Solar Flare behind the turret. Cocoon will land on to Jackie. Super Mega Death Rocket. He goes down. Turret will get teleported to there by Haunter. He's going to throw out Zaydas and looking for the engage. Fabi's going to get engaged on. Will go down. Sustains for so long. Teleport now in for Rux, and it's Heaven Time there to fall, as well as, once again, the Shallow Crave there for Jackson as he's going to go down. One bad Brad still alive, but now Rux trying to head on to LOH. There's the Summoner heal, but it's LOD to take out Rux just in time to keep LOH alive. So you can see the LOs keeping each other alive there, and whether or not that's a commentary on their MMR, we'll have to wait for a while. Push to come in for the surviving members there of LoLPro, as Haunter bring up the rear will be the first there to start attacking the turret. Brad is going to start the wave clear, but still some damage to come back out, dodging away from all the skill shots LoLPro has to offer.
I mean, Rapid, you know, Haunter, he's a ghost-type Pokemon. You need those special attacks to try and actually damage him. Normals don't affect him, and they just ignored him in that fight. And as a result, Mundo sat in all of Curse Academy, tossed out cleavers, picked off people one by one, and even though Jackie got bursted down fairly quickly, he dealt enough AoE damage that the Haunter cleanup crew could just clean up on his own.
10 out of 10, perfect back timing there from LOH as he avoids pretty much everything thrown his way, makes it back to base. Now it's Haunter coming back to keep his defense of this mid turret.
Minions are dead. Another initiation out of the turret. Yorin, though, gonna just get blown up. I mean, there were no minions. There was nothing.
There's True Shot Barrage there to pick off even more damage. The Repel away will get one bad Brad out of there as the Wraith Camp right where it's supposed to be. Man, if that Wraith Camp hadn't been there, all of a sudden it's Repel right back down where one bad Brad was, and you get really sad all of a sudden. That time, the Arcane Shift forward for LOD actually worked out, so maybe I was a little bit too harsh about that. Don't really want to criticize his AD carry decisions.
It's one of those things where if you know someone isn't there to kill you, it's a great idea. If you're not sure, it can be a bit risky, as we've seen in the past.
A bit, yes.
This mid lane push, though, I mean, Jacksmith gets a lot of damage off. Actually scares off LoLPro.
A nice Talisman of Ascension there from LOH. We'll get the rest of LoLPro back out to safety. Still, no turrets falling down just yet, and both teams just really posturing for position. Top lane, a nice push there for Haunter, but he's going to have to deal with the rest of the wave that's one bad Brad just pushed in bottom for Curse Academy. And there's actually True Shot Barrage, so never mind.
Yeah. Another moment where Dragon, not quite up yet, going to be up in about 25 seconds. Do not know if Curse Academy have timing. LoLPro picked it up on the side, so Curse Academy might have a good idea as they're already in the pit looking for a clear. So if we have the next team fight break out here, well, all ults are up for LoLPro except that True Shot Barrage, which actually is incredibly important for damage. So this might be Curse Academy's fight to take, but the question is, can they control that Haunter? Signs point to no, just based off history.
Dragon looking to be the objective. Both Dragons so far going to Curse Academy. See if LoLPro can pick up one for themselves. They've been more focused on turret pushing, and they have achieved the taking down of all three outer turrets there for Curse Academy. So, you know, Dragons respawn turrets don't, so I like their focus so far. We'll have to see if Curse Academy can take down this Dragon. There's going to be a nice two-shot barrage, missing absolutely everyone. Dragon will fall, third Dragon of the game. There's actually going to be a nice Leon right in the middle, but not actually hitting anything. Huge crescendo. Rux is going to deny that, but it's going to be the untimely demise of one bad Brad. First casualty of the team by a Super Mega Death Rocket right there onto LOH. Flashes out, but goes down. As Rux is going to get in there. Can he take out Jackie? There's actually a clutch 1v2. Just not enough as the body slam from Jackie will take Rux down, and a very, very low health LOD. Perfect positioning in that team fight. I guess talk about that a little bit, Studio. What did LOD do that fight that Fabi really didn't?
LOD Arcane shifted out and didn't die at the last second with that ticking from a Brand almost killing him. The thing is, that fight quickly spread out and it was constant 1v1s. And think of the composition from LoLPro. Gragas, Ezreal, Haunter on Mundo especially. It was a bunch of small fights going on at the same time, no real focus from either team, but for LoLPro that is mating, for Curse Academy that is almost suicide. As now, Baron does go down. LoLPro in control of this game, not necessarily in goal, but just in the team fights, in the composition. If they can really use this Baron to move forward and try and take objectives, take out some more turrets, this might be the time for LoLPro to just, get that final nail in the coffin. However, Curse Academy, they can still play for the pickoffs, they can still play for that late game. Jacksmith now has a Rylai's. If you can pick up a Leandries or just a Death Cap, just some more damage, he's at the crucial point in the game where Brand really starts to control team fights a whole lot more. This might be the point where Curse Academy can finally team fight and maybe even just kite Haunter around.
You know, if Optimus Tom wasn't at a Battle of the Atlantic, I'd love to see stats on numbers of Barons that it takes to close out games. I think in our last best of 3 it was like 2 or 3. This time around, I don't know. But we have the first one down, so we're getting closer to that inevitable 68-minute victory.
That 68-minute victory might come before the 60-minute mark, Rapid. It's a possibility. However, no guarantees.
You know, I'm going to take that
no
bet, Studio.
It's a tough nut to crack for LoLPro to get into a siege push. What's going to happen is if they try and push against it, if they try and move forward, they do have good initiation, but there is that risky chance that they'll just be initiated on by Leona underneath the turret and get bursted down quite quickly. So going for that hard initiation is going to be scary. They can do it, but it's risky. And of course, going up against Brand, going up against Olaf Axis, there's a lot of wave clear for Curse Academy.
Haven't time tried to clear out that Warden, even though it's visible. It's a pink Warden here in Season 4. Pressure just a little bit too great. Backs on offer now. Knows it's there, but it's not necessarily necessary to take it down. Middle turret, second tier middle turret, rather, will fall 4-2. Faber now still in favor of LoLPro. I was about to say LOD, but...
Well,
yeah,
I mean...
I guess it's in favor of him, too.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a
that
team
works.
effort. Push now down onto that top lane. The second tier top turret looks to be a focus. Jackie going to throw some barrels backwards, but will Hyorin be once again the initiate? It's been, you know, mixed effectiveness so far.
Now, Frozen Fist finished on Ezreal. I love this just because Rux, if he does use the ultimate, Ezreal has enough tools in his kit to most likely stay away from that Olaf. Olaf not running Ghost because of the Jarvan threat, which means that Rux doesn't have that super awesome superior chase that you see out of, you know, Ghost to Olaf, Ghost Nasus. So as a result, if LOD can kite, and he definitely can with Arcane Chip and that Frozen Fist, Rux is just going to be effective versus him as an anti-carry.
Hauntzer's going to be able to take down that bottom turret really, really quickly. Just because the way that Dr. Mundo's E works is that he sacrifices his own health and gets up to, I think it's 100 bonus attack damage, which, as it turns out, takes down turrets pretty quickly. I don't even think he cares about the minion wave right now. You can see he has a Randuin's Omen now completed. Rux, it's only going to be pretty much the true damage that deals damage to him, and look at him just regen all the way through that. He's hurting himself there with the Burning Agony, and he's still going to generate all of it back.
I mean, he's got to be a little bit cautious. He can't just take all that Rux damage and expect to survive in case an all-in happens. But the fact that he does have Burning Agony, the fact that he does have his ultimate available means that Rux just has so much trouble chasing him down.
Haunter is regenerating 251 health every 5 seconds. There's actually the engage there. Gonna hit on LOD and Low Pally, but not gonna take any one of them down. There's explosive cast, knocks Jackson is immediately into the team. Perfect crescendo on out there. It's gonna take him down. Probably second tier top turret along with him.
They saw their moment to engage. They knew that without Hyorin his ultimate available, they could easily catch someone off. No counter initiation, because if Jaxmus is the one being CC'd, there's no real burst, there's no real follow-up to go ahead and stop them from just killing him right away. Top turret now being pressured, only 4 alive for Curse Academy. They can't hold this top turret for sure, but can they hold the inhibitor?
And there we go. It's going to go down. Inhibitor is still alive. No damage on it just yet. It will continue to regenerate. Also going to take the scenic route right through the turret. Doesn't really care about that. Take it up 2 champions. Doing what Mundos do best. Going where he pleases. One bad Brad now under his own turret, but still not safe from the relentless assault of Dr. Mundo. Talisman's Ascension on out. There's a disengage, the team fight, and the top turret and inhibitor. First inhibitor of the game, therefore, LoLPro.
LoLPro going to go ahead, recall back to base in unison, looking very, very stylish as they do, except for Jackie, who just got to be the spoil sport and go off to the side. But with this goal lead, only 6,000, but the team fight control, that Haunter pressure. You have to look at the big items for coming out for Haunter. He has Randuin's, he has Spirit Visage and Sunfire Cape, which makes him tanky as all hell. It means that you can't really escape him, even if you dodge a cleaver, because of that Randuin's proc. And you can see he's ready to dive on anybody. He went through the turret and still dove on one bad Brad. Like, that is his survivability, that is his damage, that is how controlling he is just in a 1v1 or in a team fight. Now, there's still a chance for Curse Academy to come back into this. They can't play the straight-up team fight game. They can try and hold it underneath the turret, but you can see LoLPro looks for mistakes like Huron tried to use his ultimate. If it misses, they just engage right afterwards. So they got to either play the jungle game, Jungle Warrior, maybe clear out some of these vision wards that LoLPro have placed down. Or if they can get that successful turret defense, if LoLPro do dive at the wrong time, they can hold, they can control, and they can definitely come back in. But it's going to be scary, and I think they just need more items at this point, too.
More items, you say? Well, those come with time, and we are actually past the 30-second mark. I think I'm going to actually amend my previous estimate to say maybe 89-minute game. I'm not sure, but we're well on our way. 32 minutes in there, but sizable advantages now starting to materialize for LoLPro. They're up 4 turrets. They are up now about 7,000 gold, but you know what? It's going to take a little bit longer. About 8,000 now as I improve my math skills. Blue buff. Making the blue bluer there as LOD. We'll take that one down. And now second tier turret going to go down after a little bit too slow on the rotation. Curse Academy just not there in time.
All right, top inhibitor is down, which means Super Minion is going to be pushing that top wave. Eventually, Curse Academy will have to roam and defend it if LoLPro do keep up their push. But they're going to go ahead and recall. Baron is up in 50 seconds. This could be the game ender. This could be the next big team fight. As LoLPro, if they get that Baron with Haunter's tankiness and just how much HP he regains every 5 seconds, what was that, 220? Probably be like 250, 260 now. it's going to be very difficult for Curse Academy to A, kill him, and B, do anything about his massive damage from the Cleaver spam. So that could be the game ender right there. That could be the successful dive opportunity for LoLPro. And Curse Academy, they got to do something now.
He doesn't have Baron anymore, and that was what was giving him about 100 extra regen there. Keep in mind, he's also going to be picking up Warmog's armor instead of the Doran's shield. When we see that, it'll get right back up to those crazy values. But he did pick up a Thornmail, and that's kind of interesting for Dr. Mundo because it doesn't actually give him health. And because he's more of a regen-based champion, having extra health there would probably be a better idea. And stacking both a Randuin's Omen as well as a Thornmail is kind of counterintuitive because Thornmail says, hey, I'm going to take more damage and give more back. Randuin says, I want to take less damage. So, I mean, more armor is never a bad thing, especially against Fabi, who, while he didn't have the huge early game that LOD did, is starting to pick up some damage there. BF Sword instead of any defensive itemization. The blue build on LOD won't really make him anywhere near Fabi's damage. He is once again creating that same dynamic we saw in the previous series between VVV and DTG.
Man, I gotta say, I actually love Thornmail because it means Fabi no longer gains lifesteal. Like, the way Thornmail works, it reflects the base damage someone would have done. So if you hit for 400 and it gets reduced to 5 from a massive amount of armor, you're taking Thornmail damage based off that initial 400. So Fabi will probably take more damage than he'll deal when auto-attacking.
Well, Cocoon onto low Pally. Going to stay alive. No engage, but an opportunity nonetheless. And if One Bad Brad can keep creating those opportunities, that's what it's going to take to stop the siege.
Having time clearing out a ward. Jaximus, he does have Leandries, he does have Rylai's, doesn't have a Void Staff though. So not going to have that massive amount of Brand Burst, but his poke is insane right now. Letting this one spell can easily take out, 20% of someone's HP when you get all the ticks from Leandries. However, LOH does have a lot of sustain playing that Sona, having that Athenes. Actually, you can really see that Brand is still effective versus Hans. They're able to take him down relatively low with some backup from One Bad Brad. But the question is, in an all-out team fight, in that quick bursty engagement, will it be enough?
Now, it's damage versus damage over time. For blue build Ezreal, you're not going to deal the most damage, but what you are going to do is just be really annoying and be able to dish out consistent, effective damage through all the penetration over time. Same thing for Brand, who went Rylai's Leandries instead of looking for like a Death Cap Void Staff that you see out of Jackie, and Fabi as well going for the straight damage. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic. Haunter, though, going to get scouted out there. Won't be engaged on the engage in the middle lane. Low Pally just getting blown apart, but stays alive. Talisman of Ascension as well as that's a shield keeping him alive there. Yorin, though, in the middle of the fight, will get taken out there. Brand as well. And now Fabi very low in the very back of the team fight, trying to stay alive, but will not be able to do it. The engage kind of working against them as Curse Academy lose 4 for 0. Only One Bad Brad left alive.
Ashes to ashes, curse to curse. I think this might just be the game ender. 4 down, only One Bad Brad on his own. The surrender vote comes out. The Nexus will explode, and GG in favor of LoLPro.
That is going to be the end of our first game in this best of 3. LoLPro take a 1-game lead, and heading into game number 2, Curse Academy coming in as what I guess would be the favorites, but LoLPro kind of unscouted here. They tried to run the Brand. They ran it with an 80 carry, so I don't really feel like that was the most effective. 0-5 score for Jaximus versus the 4-2 for Jackie. I probably want to rethink that just a little bit here going into our next game of the night. We will be heading there after a short commercial break, so don't go anywhere. Before we do head out there, we are going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors at LolChat. It's a LOL chat app for your mobile device. So if you want to chat with your friends on League of Legends, don't have a computer with you, you can do that using LolChat. Also, Phoenix. You can head over to phoenixcollection.com and check out any of their impeccably crafted gaming peripherals. And I think they have a mouse, keyboard, headset, and mouse pad as well. If you want to go over there and check them out. Thank them for supporting NACL and give them a little bit of love. Also, do you want to shout out to Philol, this new sponsor here for the NACL playoffs. It produces fabulous League of Legends videos aimed at pumping you up as a player, as well as your rating, and showing you the lighter side of competitive play. So go check him out at his YouTube channel, The Philol. Also, don't want to forget our title sponsor, well, not exactly, but for the entire season, it's been Loot Crate, crate full of loot, as opposed to what else you would think it would be. You can click on that right down below the screen, check them out, and for $13.37 a month, order yourself a crate full of all kinds of loot and goodies. But like I said, it's going to do it for game number 1. Head to a quick commercial break before we come back to possibly complete our second best of 3 of the day as the North American Challenger League Season 1 playoffs continue right after this.